All right, removing a fuel filter, replacing on a 98 4Runner. You're going to want 14 mil, a 19. This is a 14 flared end wrench to hold all sides of it, which I highly recommend, and a 10 millimeter to drop off the mounting bolts. And then, but if you can't remove the plastic plate with the 12 mils, then don't do the rest. So here's a 14 to start. You're going to want to loosen these. You're going to get a 19 mil on here on the filter and a 14 in opposite in the pose. Really hold the filter steady as you reef this lefty-loosey. So you're going to do that on both ends, and you're going to depressurize your fuel system first by opening the fuel cap, letting it sit for at least a few hours. Lighten this until it bleeds out fuel, and let it bleed fuel for at least 2, 3, 4 minutes. It'll ease up, and then you can completely undo it, and you're going to get minor fuel dripping. 14 and opposite in the pose. It's slow and easy with the standard wrench here. I'd recommend the flared end wrench, the one I showed you, to touch both sides, because if you strip these nuts, you're going to have to replace the whole fuel line, these metal fuel lines. So don't introduce that nightmare. This is what it's going to look like. Let it bleed fuel until it really gets to a low rate. I let mine sit overnight, so it's not much, but once it's acceptable, you can start working on it. Here's a good angle of the final tightening down setup. I got the flared nut on the 14 mil, and then my 19 is staying the oil filter. And really crank these down, both sides, and then proceed. Here I have the old fuel filter out. It's a Purelator. It wasn't OEM, so. And this is an OEM one that was lightly used briefly. I swapped the other one back on, so ignore it. But this is a brand new OEM Toyota Denso. There's the part number. I would recommend going OEM with a part like this. I'm reusing the bracket from this one because it just fits better. It makes it work better. Very important when you do this, don't be a dingus. On the filter it says in. See that in right by my... Okay, that is in, meaning with respect to the fuel entering the system. So here's our system. Fuel tank, rear of the vehicle. This is the way it goes, okay? In is on the left, out is on the right, going up to the fuel lines and the injectors. So mount it this way, right? With the in on the rear of the vehicle. Okay, simple. If you don't do them tight enough, you're gonna have fuel spraying everywhere. So I recommend turning the key twice, prime it, turn it back to off, turn it to on, prime it twice. Try to start it, it's gonna struggle to get fuel. And then once it starts, immediately go into your vehicle and stare at these connections. And if you don't hammer them good enough, it's gonna spray fuel everywhere. And then you're good to go.